Hello, gamers, and welcome to Xbot and Pony, the show where every week we just geek out talking about whatever's going on in the world of video games. My name is Phil.
My name is Nick.
And following the acquisition of Bethesda this week, there's been a bit of a rumor floating around that Sony might be doing their own shopping. Apparently, Metal Gear Solid might be getting a remake, and it's just with Sony.
Yeah, exclusive.
Yeah. So what have you heard, Nick? What do you think?
I did read the article, and they did say that it could be the original trilogy, with one copying a really big full remake. Has happened before.
Gimme.
Metal Gear fans don't like it. I loved it. I played it all the way through a couple of times. So it's not the first time, but it would be a big get for the PlayStation 5. And I guess Sony needs some good news at the moment, I guess. Everything seems to be Xbox at the moment. So that, put it in with Silent Hills. If that's true, that's two really big gets. And then add Final Fantasy in there. It's something Sony needs. And Metal Gear's, Konami's had a pretty bad track history lately. They're not exactly in the public's favor, but if Sony were to potentially buy them, that would be pretty big.
So I'm kind of dubious on this one, I have to be honest with you. I like the idea and it's fun to sort of speculate, but at the end of the day I think it's probably unlikely. So I don't know how much you know, but in Japan Konami isn't just a video game maker.
No.
They do all sorts of things over there. You'll see that they have a load of pachinko machines out there. They also they run their own gyms. It's really weird. I remember seeing the first sports gym that was the Konami Sports Gym or Sports Center, whatever it was called.
I went to the club last week with my brother and walked into the pokey machine, and one of the pokey machines had Konami written on it.
There you go.
In Australia. So they got their little fingers in a lot of pies.
Exactly right. They got their fingers in all sorts of different pies. So it's not just a video game company that they'd be buying. It's a huge corporation in Japan who, as gaming fans, we might be not particularly happy with them at the moment, but they're not exactly struggling either. They're still doing well over there. So that's sort of where I'm sort of a little bit dubious that they would be selling the company. Maybe they'd be licensing out some of the games. That is a possibility.
That could be
so maybe they'd be willing to do that. But the fact that we're getting Silent Hill and Metal Gear rumors, to me, that just sounds like fanboys getting a bit excited. It doesn't seem likely.
I mean, this could be started on the back of the Bethesda news. Who knows? It could be one of those knee-jerk reactions.
We need something quick, say. Yeah.
Well, it's a strange one. I mean, I wouldn't say it's impossible. Definitely not impossible. I think we can say that about the video game industry now. Nothing's impossible. But I guess Sony and Microsoft merging together, that's probably impossible. But an exclusive game like that, having that PlayStation background, it didn't.
That's the thing. They've got a history there with PlayStation, and
they're pretty close.
And Sony's a Japanese company. I feel like that's more likely, that sort of connection to happen, than, because obviously this week as well they were rumoring that Microsoft was buying Sega, and my instinct on that was.
That's coming around a lot. I said it before. Yeah. I think there's a potential partnership there or some sort of deal. And we've seen Yakuza being exclusive, and PSO. So there's a few things there that they're trying to do to help Japan with Microsoft, and they've got a lot of work to do there. They just dropped the price of the Xbox S over there. So to go against Sony, it's hard, but Sony does need this. So maybe it is true. Maybe there is some deal there to have some Metal Gear games come to the PlayStation and not to Xbox, or even timed to PlayStation and then come to Xbox later. Sony is definitely after timed exclusives. We know that now. They're spending a lot of money on that. I wouldn't rub it out completely, but likely
it might not be as big as people think it is.
I think
the
Silent
other,
Hill is more likely, to be honest. I think Silent Hill's more likely.
it could happen. Yeah, it could happen. I mean, I think Silent Hills was originally meant to be exclusive to the PlayStation, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that
So
was the whole Norman Reedus
yeah.
project. Yeah.
So that link might still be there, just
Yeah.
under
Yeah.
a different
Yeah.
role. You never know.
They spent a bit of
Um,
money and time on it. You think they might want to eventually make that money back. So,
hmm.
yeah, it's weird that we haven't heard anything about that game. It's weird that this has now popped up, Metal Gear. I mean, I'd love to see a remake of Metal Gear Rising as well. So
Yeah.
that was a really good game. It'd be nice to that with some ray
Revengeance.
tracing and that. That was a really
Yeah.
good spin-off.
Yeah.
It's a massive franchise, and yeah, the fans have been asking for a remake, not remaster, a remake for a long time. So, and I'm sure they'd want 2 and 3 done as well because they're pretty big games in the franchise.
Well, maybe let's have a bit of fun then. So let's allow our imaginations to go wild. So if this, let's just assume it's true and it's
Yep.
happening. What are like some dream things for you that would need to happen in this Metal Gear remake? Would they need to change anything significant? Would they have to add anything significant? Is there anything that's like it's
Well,
holy, you can't remove it from it? Yeah, anything? Any concerns? What you
they have to have Keith Sutherland. I'm joking.
got?
I'm joking. I'm joking.
Woo!
Um, yeah, go back to the roots. Don't just upgrade the visuals. Update the camera. Update the controls. Give us as much as people don't like the latest game, engine wise, it's really good. It's pretty. You got really big draw distances. So yeah, the original game remade in that engine would be incredible. Some new voice lines, some more cutscenes. I mean, maybe not to the extent of what they did with the Twin Snakes remaster, or remake or redo, whatever you want to call it. People weren't too fond of that, but something similar and not too extreme, and keep the core content there, but just expand on it. Give us some ray tracing, 60 frames per second, 4K, and I think people will just sell millions of copies. Even if it was exclusive to
It would do
PlayStation 5,
incredibly
it
well.
would sell millions of copies. So
It would.
yeah, and I'd jump into it, definitely.
Mm. Yeah, for sure. I'm curious if this. So the obvious thing that also pops into my head about this is Kojima wouldn't be involved.
No, he wouldn't. No,
Right.
definitely not.
So, I mean, like the hardcore fans are going to go, well, maybe you shouldn't do it at all. If he's not involved, don't even go there.
Again, if it was a new game, I'd agree with that. But the story's already there, the characters are already there. Does he really need to be involved? I mean, look at Resident Evil 2 remake. That was handed over to someone completely different, and
Yeah.
I think it's amazing. I think it's absolutely incredible. It still has the core elements of that game there. If you want to know how to remake a game, look at Capcom. Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3, as disappointing as it was still a good remake. They know how to do it. Copy that formula and you'll be sweet.
So you're right. Yeah. So like if you updated the camera angles like they did in Resident Evil and what you were mentioning into Metal Gear, that could probably work quite well. It did work really well in Metal Gear Solid 5. I haven't played Survival.
No,
It did
that
my sort
wasn't
of
for
thing.
me. No, that's not.
Yeah.
I,
But it did handle really, really well. And so if Metal Gear Solid 1 used that, yeah, it would be really impressive.
it would be really.
I did go back to Metal Gear Solid 1 recently, and the controls are a little bit awkward.
It's like the Resident Evil games, isn't it? The tank controls type thing. It is fairly awkward and clunky. And yeah, that was just the power of the consoles and design back then. So, look at the Resident Evil 2 controls, look at the way they do it. If anybody wants to make something or copy something, any good director, I know this is going to another medium here, but anybody that's making a superhero movie, whether it's Avengers or Wonder Woman or anything, you go back and you watch Tim Burton's Batman, and you got to pick that. And any decent director, filmmaker will tell you use that formula and you expand on it, because that's what you do. And this is what they got to do here. Go back to what Capcom's done, copy them exactly the way they've done it, and it will be successful and it will make money, and fans will be. You can't please everybody, and you're never gonna please everybody, but you'll please the majority, and that's all that matters.
I would at least check it out, right?
I'd be onto it. And I know you haven't checked this out. When you get the chance, if you want to borrow it, to you.
Yes, please. We were just discussing this
play.
before we shot the video.
Yeah,
We were looking up online because I've been wanting to buy it, right? I've been wanting to.
it's
I've never
pricey.
owned it, and the cheapest I can find online is about $260 for that game. And it's just GameCube prices, man. They're just getting insane.
Yeah, that's like
So yes,
150
I'm gonna have to come. I may have to borrow it from you.
Yes, borrow.
Long-term borrow. Yeah.
Long-term borrow. Yeah, it's a good. I really did enjoy it. I really did enjoy it. That crazy,
So would it
crazy.
upset people if this new Metal Gear remake is actually just a sort of HD upgrade of Twin Snakes? What do you reckon?
Oh, they would go nuts. They would go nuts. They'd probably blame Konami, but they'd go nuts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's hopefully not. I'd
Okay.
prefer them to go back to that and do that, and because Silicon Knights made that, and they made some good games, Silicon Knights, and then a bit of controversy afterwards. But yeah, it was weird, exclusive to GameCube. They didn't like that either because it's a PlayStation thing. And it still has never been released anywhere, Twin Snakes. It's still only locked to the GameCube. So that does hurt a few people. So I would like to see that. Doesn't need to be remade, but even ported to the Switch or something would be nice. Give us
That could happen.
Metal Gear on the Switch. I mean,
You'll have to tell me then if this happened, because one of the sort of, I put in between quotation marks, but iconic scenes from the first one is figuring out when one of the characters, she's dressed as a soldier, and you figure out that, oh, it's not really a soldier, it must be this female spy, because the way she walks, her bum sort of goes vroom, vroom,
Yes.
vroom, walking this pixelated triangular bum, and you're supposed to go, ooh, that's nice, but you're just like, no, that's weird. It's just nothing but squares and it's trying to go
quirky things. Unplugging your controller and plugging it into a different port.
So all of that's got to be in there. All of that's.
You can't. How can you do that on a next gen console? Because we don't have cords anymore.
I don't know. I don't know how you figure it out, but you're going to do it, and you're going to include pixelated bum. If there's no pixelated bum swinging around, I don't want to know.
Exactly. And erasing your save games, things like that. Yeah. So
yes.
Very clever. Little tricks of the trade. Eternal Dark.
Yeah, because there was that thing where you had to put the controller down and it would vibrate, right?
Yes.
And I suppose you could still do that. That wouldn't be a problem.
You could. Yep, that'd work.
Yeah.
And they got the gyros and stuff now. So yeah, the PlayStation controller does. So
key thing. I was gonna say key thing was one of the codecs for Merrill. I can't remember the name anymore.
Yep,
Merrill, I think, was actually on the back of the case. It was on the case, the physical case.
Yes,
right. So what do you do now in a digital world where you're selling digital copies of the game? How do you find that code?
Does it hide somewhere in the menus, in the settings menu, or I mean, that's we have digital menus for controllers now. So does it hide somewhere? Yeah, you could come up with some really cool concepts. I think really cool ideas like that, and you'd have to keep those things because that's what made that game stand out from the crowd back in the day.
Cool. Well, what do you guys think? Is there a Metal Gear Solid remake on the way? Would you like to see one? Or do you want Twin Snakes to be the only one that comes out and we get to experience? Let us know in the comments below.
Let us know below, guys. See ya.
All right. Bye.